start again. It's a rich thing.
Hey y'all, this is Tasha. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for stopping in, for catching this Married at First Sight review. We are on season 15, episode 692 at this point. Okay, oh my gosh. Thank you so much for stopping in. If you are new here, do not forget to hit that subscribe button below. If you are not new, y'all know how we get down. Chat it up in the comments below. I'm going to try to keep my energy up, y'all. It is 12:30 in the morning right now. As soon as I was about to record this review from watching the episode, I got banging on my front door and my back door that my neighbor's house was on fire. So I'm just getting back into my home after the firefighters have checked to be sure that my home is okay. Her home is completely gone. So if y'all believe in a higher power or the power of prayer, please pray for my neighbor, because she has completely lost everything in her home. So I'm gonna try to still keep this review upbeat, but I'm just all over the place right now. So just bear with me through this review, okay? But let's jump right into it. We are less than 2 weeks away from decision day, and now we have another couples getaway. Yay! So we see Nate and Stasha. They went shopping at a sex shop, and I don't know about you guys, but I'm kind of over these two being really overtly sexual, intimate. I know we are all grown here, but this is really the first time I recall it being this in our face when it comes to sex and things like that. And from my understanding, I think Nate and Stasha get off on it, or they actually like having all this attention. I'm pretty much overseeing it, but here we are yet again. But she says, you know, they bought some vibrating panties, and on the trip, she wants Nate to be in charge of the remote control. Okay. We see Mitch and Kristen. They're packing, basically saying they'll have some conversations in the car. And I'm like, in my mind, talk about what I thought this was done. But here we are circling the block. Okay. We then see Miguel gift Lindy with a dress because they're going to have a prom at the retreat. Since y'all know Lindy went to old private Christian-like school because, you know, of her religion. They didn't have no dances or nothing, so she did not experience a prom. So here they are giving her a prom at her age now. So we see all the couples that are driving down to the retreat. Oddly enough, I don't know why they have all the wives driving. Couldn't be me, okay? I'm a forever passenger, okay? Not a driver. That's how I roll. So Kristen tells Mitch that she didn't feel proud. Y'all see. Kristen tells Mitch that she didn't feel proud of how she handled the situation, but she's telling Mitch, you know, you hadn't had time to explain yourself, and, you know, if you kind of explain yourself, I didn't have to kind of get all crazy or whatever. She then apologized to him. Let me say that again. She apologizes to him and asks if he accepts it. Kristen, what? You didn't need to apologize, but okay. They didn't show the footage from the night before when they were in the apartment. And he basically, how he's saying that things were shared with her, I guess, how he did not intend for them. And I'm like, Mitch, we saw what you said, and when Kristen came back, she said what you said. So I don't know how there can be any type of mix-up. He says that he thinks that Kristen is just supposed to, you know, he's just supposed to be a puppet, and she's supposed to just, you know, he's supposed to just kind of go along with whatever it is that she wants him to. And he's like, that does not work for me. He then tells her that, you know, you're great, and you really, and she thanks him for him telling her that she is great. And she's like, that just made me feel wanted, and that's just really all I really wanted to hear. And she is smiling like, that just gives me so much hope, while Mitch faces over there like, I hope that made you happy, now leave me alone about it. I mean, maybe it was just me, but that was the vibes I was getting. Okay, so all the couples begin showing up. House is very, very nice. I love it. Nate and Stasha, they come in, they look like they're about to go to work in their outfits, while the other couples are looking like they're actually going on vacation somewhere. Kristen tells the group that Mitch have said some very nice things to her on the way and really validated some things on the ride up that she's been wanting to hear from him for the past 2 months. So the trip is starting off well. So they then get all dressed up for the prom. And if these couples weren't so annoying, this whole prom idea would be really, really cute, okay? So Alexis and Justin, they are back to calling each other honey and babe and baby every 5 seconds. And he's trying to help her buckle her shoe and he can't get it. And then she starts saying, well, then you also had trouble trying to get my bra off. And he's like, yeah, I just couldn't. And then this is the very moment that we learn that they have consummated the marriage. Justin said it was 10 times better because of the wait, and we did not have sex. We made love. I said, okay. He said it lasted all night. I said, okay, that Alexis is going to tell us a different story, but we'll just hang tight until we get there, okay? Anyway, Alexis in this dress and this head wrap, 10 out of 10, honey. 10 out of 10. Love it, okay? And then we hear the audio of Lindy and Miguel. So it's like a shot of outside the house, but we can hear them talking. Lindy is literally whining for him to take a picture of her. She's like, please don't make it a selfie. Like, get up and do this side and that side and take the picture. And I just want a nice picture. Miguel says to not expect him to be her personal photographer because, and then he tells her that he did not like her tone. Now, I didn't see the big deal in the whole picture, but Lindy legit sounded like a freaking 5-year-old wanting to take a picture with your phone, asking if you got games on your phone. That's what she sounded like to me. And apparently from what we hear, Miguel seemed to have been laying on the bed resting, I believe. So she wanted him to actually get up to take the picture. Again, I don't see this as a big ask for her just to ask him to get up to take the picture. I mean, there's a couple of the options. She could have, you know, just waited until they were maybe about to leave and he was already up if he was tired. Or, you know, these cameras have timers and things like that now. You could have just taken it yourself, because I'm the queen of taking all of my pictures myself. Selfies or not, they all are being taken by me. So all the couples come down for the prom, and Kristen, where's your strapless bra, honey? Like, come on. Did you just forget to pack one? Stasha, she really thought she was going to a real prom, girl, and bought a brand new dress and everything. And of course, Nate had to pull out one of his turtlenecks because it would not be a, you know, classy event if he did not pull out his turtleneck. So Miguel and Lindy come down, and she has on her hoop earrings, trying to look like Jenny from the block in her little sparkly dress. So they say they're going to do all the prom stereotypes, like, you know, spiking the punch, dance all crazy, do the little pictures on the staircase, all that stuff. And then they have Married at First Sight yearbooks on the tables that has all their pictures throughout their time, which I thought was a really cute idea. They take pictures, they take shots, they dance. Well, they try to dance, if y'all want to call what they were doing a version of dancing, because it was a bit of a struggle going on with most of them, okay? So Miguel starts talking with Lindy, and it's a bit awkward. She says sorry and says that, and then he says that she is trying to gaslight him. And I don't know if I just wasn't catching on to the conversation, but I was like, how is she trying to gaslight you? So if y'all caught on to how she was gaslighting him, drop that down in the comments below. Was it just because she was like, oh, I was joking, and then she wasn't really joking? I don't know. But she says, you know, I was playing and I kind of snapped at him, and then she was like, you know, I was just playing. And he said, but that tone, honey, that tone doesn't fly. And I don't want you to talk to me like that ever. Okay. So Miguel was pretty fed up. I don't know, again, if we missed something. I didn't hear a whole lot of a tone. I just heard a whole lot of whining coming from her, sounding like, you know, a little kid, but not necessarily her having this authoritative tone with him that would make him feel such a way. I don't know. But anyway, she said she was joking and she wasn't really annoyed, but Miguel calls BS and was like, you were actually annoyed, so it's okay. She says she misread the situation and she really just wanted photos because she looked good and felt good. He says that basically the way she reacts scares him because she gets angry so quickly, and she says right now she just doesn't feel like she is being heard by him. She thinks that he is being harsh on her and is really worried, and he is worried of how easily she gets annoyed. He's like, I don't want that to be a factor in our relationship. And then she starts getting upset because she is feeling like she's getting yelled at. She said she wasn't, and they just completely have different views on obviously what an elevated tone is, which reminded me completely of Jasmina and Michael, of the tone that Jasmina kept saying Michael had, and we was like, what tone, sis? That's exactly what this same situation is now. And then of course Lindy starts to get passive aggressive, starts calling herself, you know, the biggest a-hole ever, and she completely falls into the victim box to try to just, I guess, defuse the situation. So I think we definitely saw a different side of Miguel in this situation. situation, and that would kind of raise a little bit of a red flag to concern me. But I also don't know how much Miguel has just been putting up with, because y'all know in my reviews I've said this whole time that he's just been fronting and he's just been Joseing every time he gets in front of the camera, he gets in front of the experts or anybody, that he just acts like they're so perfect and in love. And I just don't know if now that, you know, it's bubbled up or he's had a bad week, that now it's kind of just all exploded and he's like, this is how I've been feeling. I've just been holding it all back. So I don't know. Either he is short-tempered or, again, just been faking all this. We love each other and this is just so perfect, or a little bit of both. I don't know. She says she doesn't know what to say to him, and he says nothing. You just needs that he just needs communication, and that's their biggest challenge. And then she says basically she's being the biggest idiot. She's getting beat up on, and she really felt ignored by him not wanting to take the picture. Miguel said that's not it. It's the lack of transparency, because it's like she was trying to apologize for being upset as if she couldn't be upset. So basically when he asked her if she was okay, she's like, no, I'm just joking. But really it was not a joke, but she did not want to make her feelings known to him that she was upset. Child, some mess. Anyway. See, she's basically essentially begging him that she will do better. And y'all, when she was I'll do better, I'm trying, I really am, it immediately reminded me of a kid talking to their parent about maybe, you know, misbehaving in school, not getting a good grade on a test or in a class. Like, it immediately sounded like a conversation like that. I'll do better, I promise, I'll do better. Girl, stop it. So they then start to give out awards, and Alexis gets the Life of the Party award. Nate gets the Best Dancer award. The biggest drama queen is Lindy. Most emotional is Justin, obviously. Most likely to save the planet, obvious, Mitch. Class clown also goes to Mitch. Best all around is Tasha, and she's like, thank you. I would like to thank the Lord who's ahead of my life, my parents, my husband, Nate. Girl, she acted like she was so shocked. Girl, it's only 8 of y'all here. Relax, okay? The biggest gossip was Alexis, and I was just like, there should have been a tie between her and Justin, because they don't do nothing but kiki and spread the tea when they get alone. And Nate uses this opportunity to let us know in the confessional that she calls, basically that Alexis calls Ben and Morgan's divorce because of her gossiping, and she's a snitch. I said, well, I'm not going to say she caused it. She, you know, sprinkled a little gasoline on the fire, absolutely, but Ben and Morgan wasn't gonna make it anyway. Most likely to stay married award, Alexis first jokes and said Kristen and Mitch, and they're like, not funny, and I'm like, too soon, Alexis. But Miguel and Lindy get the award, and of course he immediately starts Joseing yet again, just as if they were not just arguing. And she says, you know, it's easy to fight for him because of how much I love him. Okay, Lindy, okay. So the award for most likely to end up with multiple divorces went to Kristen, and she was so excited to get this award, she even voted for herself, you guys. And then we have prom king and queen, which is Miguel and Lindy, and they all danced the night away. Prom is over. All the couples are headed to bed. Miguel says he's happy they were able to have the conversation earlier, and he really just wants to trust that when he asks her something, that the answer that she gives is going to be reliable. Nate and Stasha then walk into their room and give them the sex swing, and I said, is this the same one that y'all used the other episode, or did y'all go buy them their own? Because ew. They get it set up for them, give them directions on how to use it. Nate has to demonstrate, and then it's Lindy's turn. Then they tried a couple different positions, and I could have gone the rest of my life without seeing any of that, okay? So it's the next day. All the couples have some individual activities planned. Justin and Alexis go on a wine tour / tasting that Justin set up for them. And then Alexis has to say that, you know, Justin has that, you know, I got booty glow. And I'm just like, girl, you making this a bigger deal than it is. Like, I expected Justin to be all into it and letting us know what happened, but it's really Alexis, girl. Pipe down, okay? So she thinks that now he can really be himself because the sexual tension is gone. And I was just like, is it just me, or was she kind of giving the impression that now he should be like, you loved me before, you should be completely head over heels in love with me at this moment because I've given up the box. Like, I was getting some vibes that she was maybe disappointed in his reaction towards them finally having sex together. But he says he's really looking at them long term, because sex is just sex. And the more they get to know each other, of course, the more they'll begin to appreciate each other. He says he can't say that he is giving it his all within the 6 weeks, because it's like, it's just 6 weeks and he's really still processing a lot of things. She says, well, I'm kind of the opposite. I am giving you my all. And he says that everything won't happen in 8 weeks and it just legit takes time. But she's like, I don't have to go through everything in that time. I can basically see how you react in certain situations, then and apply those to other situations, and I know how you're going to react. And I'm like, well, Alexis, that's great for you, but everybody does not function that way, girl. So you just have to let him experience things how he experienced things, and you do the same for yourself. Okay. We see Mitch and Kristen. They play archery. Mitch says that they're in a good spot, but he was confused since she voted for herself for having the most divorces the previous night. So now the two of them are going to write things down on paper so that they can kill it with the bow and arrow. Kristen writes attraction on her sheet. Mitch writes pool gate from last week. Kristen tells him that while, you know, that she could have handled things better with the whole pool gate situation, she think it allowed them to have a great weekend, because she wasn't sure if he would have said those nice things about her without them going through that. And I was like, so we gonna celebrate the fact that maybe you can't get him to say kind things about you until you lose your shit? I don't think that's how you want it, Kristen. So Lindy and Miguel, they go on a carriage ride, y'all. So they are feeling good after their conversation the previous night. While on the ride, Miguel wants to, you know, spit some poetry or a little freestyle, you know, to her. Seems completely out of left field, but, you know, whatever, do your thing. So as he's talking and trying to do his little poem / rap, she starts pointing out things. Ooh, a bunny, a dog, a squirrel, an ant, a spider, a fly. Anything she can see, she starts to point out. And I'm like, what is happening? What is happening here? So she completely, of course, overshadows what he's saying. Even when she tries to engage back in her attention span, it's just not happening. He says it's draining for her to keep interrupting him. And I'm like, that would drive me completely insane if somebody did that to me all the time. So then he tries to talk again, and she does it yet again as they're sitting down, and she starts saying, look at those people on their phone. Ha ha ha. And I was like, why was that such a distraction for you? And why was that even funny? Like, I could maybe give you a pass on the animals if you just got so excited from the animals. But people on their phones, I didn't get that one at all, honey. And I was completely lost. Okay, so he gets annoyed. She wants grace because she says she has a bird brain. And it's a part of her personality to basically just cut people off. And I'm just like, girl, but you almost 30 years old. At what point do you have some type of control on that situation? There has to be a time where you have to control that a little bit more. So now she says, am I just supposed to have blinders on and not focus on anything else? No, Lindy, but you can see other things happening around you without having to comment on those things, especially if somebody else is talking. I mean, it's not that hard, okay? My 4-month-old puppy, he can see a bird and not always react to every single bird that he sees. So I'm sure you are capable of seeing a bunny, a squirrel, a dog, and you not react to it. Miguel says he's just tired of calling her attention to it, and then she starts to cry and says she is trying and she is learning, but it is a lot. But again, it's so confusing because it's hard to, I want to believe she is trying, but then she keeps always giving the excuses of, it's just ingrained in me. It's a part of me. It's who I am. Like, so that to me gives an out for, it's just who I am and this is how I'm going to behave versus this is truly something I'm working on. I don't get it. Anyway, she then walks off. She says she continues to feel like she isn't enough for him. And at what point does she put her foot down? And I truly think also in this moment, the age gap between the two of them is completely showing, where she's just like, oh, I'm, you know, still in my 20s, ready to have a lot of fun, no responsibilities. While Miguel is like, I'm in my late 30s. I'm ready to settle down and sit down, honey. Okay. And have a decent conversation with somebody and not just have you be all over the place. So anyway, they sit back down. Miguel says he needs to call her out in a healthier way. She says she has been consistently trying. Again, I question that. Miguel says that this is a blow up because she is crying. And she's like, this is a blow up? This isn't a blow up. This isn't a blow up. And she goes off yet again. And I'm just like, girl. And she's like, if you can't handle this blow up. If it was a blow up, you wouldn't be able to handle it. And again, she just keeps wearing this as some type of badge of honor. She is basically, and she's afraid that she may not be able to be herself, is what she said. And I'm just like, you can, but just reel yourself in just a little bit. Like everything that's maybe thought doesn't actually need to come out of your mouth. So back at the house, the guys are outside talking. The girls are inside cooking. Stasha says that Justin told them that they did to do. And Alexis says, you know, that it was a little awkward because, you know, it's the first time and, you know, the stamina wasn't where it needed to be. So I'm like, Justin, how you going to say it was all night? And she said the stamina wasn't where it needed to be. But also, Alexis, girl, you know, the first time, first 2-3 times, girl, you just got to chalk that up, okay? Alexis asked the ladies if sex wasn't good, would you stay in a relationship? They all say yes, they would because the other reasons are more important. What y'all think about that? So Miguel and Lindy, they finally show up and it's time to now spill the tea about their argument. Miguel tells them about their argument and Nate is basically ready to rent out the swing to whatever couple needs it next. The lady talks about using toys in the bedroom. Kristen says she is now conflicted. And I don't know if it was my TV, but in this scene, did Kristen's voice shift and sound different at times? And when it sounded different, they were not showing her. So I was trying to figure out if production went and did some voiceover, like if they were messing with the audio because it sounded completely off. And I'm like, what are y'all trying to do here? Maybe it was just my TV, but I definitely noticed that it sounded weird. And in those points it sounded weird, we did not actually see her talking. So Kristen says that they are in the best place that they can be since they, you know, gotten out of Poolgate. But she is asking herself, basically, is there more good that has happened in the past 8 weeks for her to keep trying? And that answer would be a strong no. So now Stasha wants to put on her vibrating panties because they're about to have dinner with the other couples. And she just be looking real thirsty to me, like she just wants to do things for the shock value or just to be like, I done told you I'm a freak, so let's get this popping, or to keep up with Nate. I don't know what it is, but it just sounds like, it just be seeming like she just be doing team too much, girl. We don't need to be involved in all your bedroom shenanigans, okay? Lindy then asks a member of production to take a picture of her since we know early in the episode, Miguel pitched a whole fit because she wanted him to take a picture and he didn't feel like doing it at the moment. So he says he wants her to basically read his mood and energy level to determine what is appropriate and where. Now, Miguel, this girl is already struggling and having a hard time. You just can't keep bouncing directions back and forth of how she's just supposed to kind of innately just know you and know when it's cool to ask you for something and when it's not cool. Yes, over time, those things come, but y'all are now, what, a little bit over 6 weeks in. So give her time if that's what you expecting, but it's just not going to happen at this point. And I think right now he's just completely fed up. She then asks him for a hug. He says no and has an attitude. And again, I'm not even sure how this escalated so quickly between the two of them. But he then says that within seconds, he gets 2 different versions of her. And again, I'm having a hard time connecting the dots this time, Miguel, because I felt like she tried to do a different behavior this time of, you didn't want to do the picture before, so this time let me not even bother you and let me ask somebody else. So she was not technically in the wrong, and I hate that you have me defending Lindy right now, Miguel. Get it together. So now she's starting to completely flip out, and he is acting like Morgan, in my opinion, where Morgan really wanted Ben to apologize to her a certain kind of way. He wants her to behave a certain kind of way when it comes to knowing him and his mood and what things she can and can't do. I just didn't completely get it. She then does this crazy laugh and says she's going to completely lose it because him saying no to the hug was basically rejection to her. And she is just confused and doesn't know what to do. I'm wondering, did we miss something? Was something chopped, cut, and screwed that this blew up and became such a huge issue so fast. Because while we know Lindy is completely annoying, Miguel is completely making this an issue when it shouldn't even be an issue. Then he tells her that they will basically have to see how things net out, which y'all know anytime there's any discussion or conversations about them not being together, that is a trigger for her, okay? So now she's having a full-on meltdown and doesn't want to do anything and says, I've been trying so hard, I've been trying so hard. And I'm like, maybe you have been trying hard, honey, and I totally am not dismissing the credit and the work that you have done. But y'all just may be at two different spaces where y'all just don't need to be together, because he's expecting more out of a spouse than maybe you are actually ready to give him at this moment. So she's in the bathroom crying. Miguel goes in after her, and she says she thinks she's been really holding back the tears all along. She just couldn't do it anymore. And him not hugging her was hurtful because, again, the rejection of it all. He says he felt so disconnected that he didn't want to hug her and he didn't want it to be fake. So she says that she worries that because she thought everything was going smooth between them, and now she feels like he's just looking for a reason to not be with her. And I said, ding, ding, ding. That is correct. I believe he has officially had enough. Okay. So all the couples have dinner, and Miguel and Lindy, they are not present. Stasha and Nate then talk about Alexis and Justin's sex life in their confessional. Again, I'm not sure why they're being messy. Mitch is able to give Kristen on a cheek. Alexis asks Mitch if he's now attracted to his wife, and I'm like, Alexis, here you go again. Here you go. But Mitch says yes. And then as the other couples are trying to talk, Nate is continuing to buzz Stasha's vibrating panties, and she just can't keep still. Yeah, I was so annoyed because they were really acting like two teenagers. Like, I am no prude and I am all about having a good time, but I think this little vibrating panties might have been, more appropriate for a night out with just the two of y'all out. But at a dinner table with the other three couples, it's just, well, other two at this point, other two couples was just like, did we really need this at this point, y'all? We really didn't need it. They end up leaving. Nate says he couldn't work the remote, so he got it stuck. And I guess she thought her vagina was broke, child. I just rolled my eyes at it all, okay? Lindy and Miguel then are back with the other couples, and Miguel says he's been a bit irritable, moody, and insensitive, and he's just been in a bad mood all weekend, so he does apologize. Lindy says she loves him and just wants to move past this. And then we see Kristen comes down, and she imitates Mitch, and everyone laughs, and it kind of breaks the ice for everyone. And it's then the next morning, all the couples are about to go play dodgeball. Miguel is still in a mood, honey, and he's said he's ready to call it quits and ready to go home, but he is sticking it out for Lindy. Miguel gives a speech, and honestly, I don't care because I'm over the two of them at this point. They all split into teams to play, and it's Justin, Stasha, Miguel, and Kristen on one team, and all the others on the red team. The red team ends up winning both games. Miguel once again gets in his feelings because Lindy was cheering for Nate, who was on her team, to take out Miguel. And Miguel is like, what about cheering for your husband? What about the words of affirmation? Again, Miguel, like, are you on your period? What is the problem? Pipe down. You just having a whole attitude. The episode wraps up with the teams chatting separately. Lindy is saying that she gets crazy and she's competitive, and she's like, Miguel is just really sensitive right now because it was an overall emotional weekend. On the other side, Miguel is talking to his team and says that, when her voice starts to get elevated, it makes him upset, it makes him walk on eggshells, and he really tries to filter himself. Lindy starts to cry again and says that she's being herself, and she feels like that is never right with Miguel, and everything she does isn't right, and she just feels completely blindsided when he comes after her. Miguel says that he is being reactive because the same things just keep happening, and he's really just trying to control it all. Stasha then gives her 2 cents and says, well, maybe y'all just shouldn't be together, in her confessional. While you need to mind your business, Stasha, I do agree. Lindy says the hardest part was the rejection of the hug, and it was the most painful thing that you can do to her when she's trying to connect with you. And I was like, but Lindy, girl, most time when people piss at other people, they don't want to be touched. They don't want to be touched by the person that they're particularly angry or upset with at the moment. So you should be able to understand that, okay? She then says she's she is afraid that he has harbored all this stuff and now one wrong thing and he is ready to bounce. He says he isn't sure if they are right for each other, and she says she can't be the punching bag anymore, and he says he doesn't know how they will overcome it. Lindy, you got the answers and you called it, because he has harbored onto a lot, and y'all have just put this fluff and glitter and rainbow and sticky hearts on y'all's relationship and not really addressing any real things. And then now it has just bubbled up to the surface at this retreat, and here y'all are now arguing about freaking taking pictures. Like, bruh. I just don't get it, y'all. But anyway, it looks like it's going to continue to get, you know, even more spicy as the last few episodes come. I think there's only like maybe 3 more episodes before we start getting into decisions, or maybe 2 or 3. I don't know, but I think it's that first week of November that we start getting into decision day. So I'm excited for us to kind of shift through the rest of these weeks or these really last few days and just get into whether these folks will stay together or whether they will get divorced. Y'all know my vote. They need to all get a divorce. But let me know what y'all thought about the episode this week. Please drop your comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.